Texans Colts Saturday night appears to be two evenly matched teams. Hell, the Colts won the first matchup. So why is everyone picking the Texans? What's going on here? Let's try to get to the bottom of it in the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.
It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, Sports Radio 610. And the Odyssey app. You can see me here inside the locker room, Texans daily digital content, including right after the game when the Texans do take on the Colts. If you missed the Laramie Tunsil exclusive interview that we had with him this week, please check that out on the Odyssey app. I want to get to the bottom of something real quick when it comes to Texans Colts. These teams appear to be evenly matched. I mean, it appears to be to at least, on the same caliber. Colts opened as a 1.5 point favorite. Texans are now a 1.5 point favorite. So you've seen like a pretty consistent, frequent, not rare switch in the money. The Colts beat the Texans earlier in the year. There's a lot of factors why, but for whatever reason, every national person that I've seen, and I'm not exaggerating, I'll show you a visual here in a sec, but every national person that I'm seeing is picking the Houston Texans. I'll just pull this up on Twitter. This is Colts coverage at Colts_coverage. This is from, I believe, Get Up on ESPN. You can see it right there. Kim Martin, Texans. Harry Douglas, Texans. Bart Scott, Texans. Damian Woody, Texans. This is from the athletic staff. Zach Jackson, shout out to Zach Jackson, Texans. Larry Holder, Texans. Zach Kiefer, one of the best guy on the Colts beat last year, now does elite national features. Texans. Chad Graff, Texans. Tashawn Reed, Texans. Josh Kendall, Texans. And Mark K, however the hell you say his name, Texans. So it seems like everybody is picking the Texans. And when I saw this, I actually happened to have the TV on around the horn, and Mina Kimes was on there and a few other people, and they all picked the Texans. My question is why? Is it as simple as the quarterback situation? Is it as simple as CJ Stroud versus Gardner Minshew? Is it because, let's be honest, national people, and let's be honest, if you were covering national sports, you wouldn't have to know much about the Texans really or follow the AFC South very closely, that they're just going with the quarterback that they know about. Why is everyone taking the Texans? And I'm not saying this makes me nervous. This isn't like a kiss of death or anything. But what is it? I talked to Kevin Bowen today on the show. He said something about the Colts that I think we do need to take a closer look at, which I'll do with you in a sec. But first, let's hear from Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. Let's hear what he has to say about balancing CJ Stroud returning versus how you call plays with CJ Stroud earlier. Here's the offensive coordinator of the Texans.
The biggest thing when you just play that position that we talk about all the time is controlled aggression. Because you got to be willing, like when the look presents itself, when the hole's there, you got to be ready to rip it, which is a mindset. It's also technique. It's also footwork. It's reps that have been built and trust that have been built with the receivers that are running the routes. So that's like the number one thing we talk about, but then it's quickly followed by, what if it's not the right time? What if the hole is just too small? What if a receiver just on this particular rep didn't win? Or, what if you thought it was going to be a look and they rolled to something else? And being able to control those situations and still make a profit on the play, still make it a positive play, get a completion somewhere, gain yards, move forward. I mean, that really is what defines an efficient offense. When you're able to stay ahead of the sticks, when you get on 1st and 10, instead of getting stuck in a 2nd and 10, you get to a 2nd and 6. Like, that's a massive difference for how we can approach the next play.
All right, that's Bobby Slowick. We'll hear from CJ Stroud in a sec, but we're trying to figure out what it is about the Texans Colts. Now, there are a couple things that the Colts have that I think perhaps aren't getting enough attention. We talk about the interior D-line, the fact that they blitz the least amount in the league, yet they're top 5 in sacks. That kind of speaks for itself. That kind of concerns you a little bit. We talk about, their offensive line. That gets brought up. I think the Texans at full strength or even close to full strength, I think that D-line can bang with the Colts offensive line. So I don't see that. The one thing that I would kind of keep an eye on is the Colts receivers. I know we know about Michael Pittman Jr., but Josh Downs and Alec Pierce can be sneaky good when it comes to making big plays specifically. Pierce actually averages 16 yards per carry. One of the Texans' weaknesses, and one of the reasons that we saw Jalen Petrie benched, although you got to feel good about the corners, is giving up the deep ball and giving up plays there. So Alec Pierce might be something to keep an eye on. But the one thing that Kevin Bowen brought up that I didn't even really think about myself, and this will be interesting. I'll pull this up just so we can see this together and go through the actual discovery, is the Colts' recent matchups. And the Indianapolis Colts since December. So we'll say final month-ish of the season, the Indianapolis Colts in December, we have, let's go with that angle right there. We have November 26th against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 27-20 win. Now, the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been their starting quarterback all season long. So there's that. I'm saying that for a reason. Let's go down. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games between then and now. Let's go to the Tennessee Titans. They won in overtime. Who are they facing in that game? Okay, Will Levis. Early on, Will Levis. So they were facing Will Levis. That's a backup quarterback. Will Levis, backup. Cincinnati Bengals, December 10th. They lost 34-14, so they got their ass kicked. Jacob Browning, backup quarterback, 18-24, 275, 2 interceptions. Jacob Browning, backup quarterback. Pittsburgh Steelers, they won 30-13. Who was the Steelers quarterback? Mitch Trubisky, 16-23, 169 yards, 1 TD, 2 INT. He sucks. We all know that. Atlanta Falcons, they lost to the Atlanta Falcons 29-10. So they got their ass kicked by Browning, 34-14. Atlanta Falcons, they lost 29-10. We know how bad Atlanta is. Who was at quarterback? Taylor Heineke, 23-33, 229 and a touchdown. So a 20-point loss to the Bengals and a 20-point loss to Taylor Heineke. 23-20. They squeaked this one out against the Raiders. Who was the quarterback? It was Aiden O'Connell. 30-47, 299, 2 touchdowns. They have not faced the Indianapolis Colts. They have not faced a starting quarterback since November 26th of this month. Since November 26th, they have not faced a starting quarterback. That's actually pretty insane. You can go back. Bryce Young was the starting. New England, they won 10-6. Remember that terrible game in London? Mac Jones actually got benched for Bailey Zappi. So maybe this is just as simple as the quarterback, because Indianapolis has been sliced up by backup quarterbacks even in December. They got double-digit loss to Jake Browning, 20-point loss, and then a 19-point loss to Taylor Heineke. So maybe that's where this is coming from. I thought it was an interesting point from Kevin Bowen. Let's hear from CJ Stroud. Let's hear from the best quarterback the Colts will have faced in a long time. Talking about magnitude, media types trying to get him to talk about magnitude. What say you, CJ?
It is what it is. Like, you don't want to make it too high. You don't want to make it too low. It's a regular game. Since I told my teammates earlier, like, it's the same game we've been playing since we've been young, So nothing changes. That'll take us home, but trying to make it too big, that'll, like, psych you out and make you nervous and stuff. So I just believe in staying even kill.
I just believe in staying even kill. What about the mood, though? What about the vibe?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to have fun. I think go be myself. Go be ourselves. Go just put it on the field, and there's nothing to lose. Like, I mean, there's a lot to lose, but in my mindset, there's nothing to lose. Like, what are you gonna go out there and we're really just gonna go out there with confidence. What's the worst that can happen? By playing hard and playing fast. We don't doubt ourselves. We really think we can win this game, and that's the plan. So we'll go out there and just execute. This game is meant to be fun. So that's what I plan to do. Not be in an eggshell. Be nervous. Like, of course, they're gonna be natural. I have natural nerves every game, but I just think those are probably the reason why I just really just lock into my preparation and things like that.
All right, there you go. So CJ Stroud feeling the vibe. Why is everyone picking the Texans? Why is this? I think it's a combination of the quarterback position, and I think it's a combination of that and the fact that people don't pay a lot of attention to the AFC South. I also do think there's some substance. I'm actually pretty confident in this game. I don't think Indianapolis has the juice on offense. I think the Texans are going to be healthy enough to figure it out, and I do think the quarterback thing matters. What worries me a little bit is the receiving situation, the deep ball, and the possibility that maybe Shane Steichen just kind of has DeMeco Ryans' number. Small sample size. Go back to 2021. This was another good point that Bowen brought up. If you missed this interview, go to the Odyssey podcast. It'll be the best. Go to the In the Loop podcast section. It was today at 10:35, probably the best education you can get on the Indianapolis Colts. Steichen wasn't actually calling plays for the Eagles yet in 2021. In 2022 in the NFC Championship, he was, and Philadelphia scored on the opening drive. Relatively easy. It was a 5-minute-ish drive, pretty balanced. They scored on that opening drive, and then this week 2, they scored on the opening drive as well. And that's just one layer of coaching. That's kind of like preparation. What are you seeing? A lot of times those plays are scripted, but some coaches are really good at scripting against certain matchups. Shane Steichen in 2 games against DeMeco Ryans has scored on the opening drive. Might be a coincidence, might be nothing to make up. But if we're looking at like things that could potentially matter in this ball game, that could be something to look at for sure. Evo General says, so excited for tomorrow night. You the man, Landry? No, you're the man, and this is going to be extra fun. Just Chad says, nothing sneaky about Downs, just a dog. Hey, he is right there. And like, I know the stats aren't there, but you talk about, guys that you feel good about early in their career. He was right there with Tank Dell. I think he could end up being a really, really good player. So we'll see what happens. The Pittman Stingley matchup, I think that's a matchup to look at. Steichen versus DeMeco, that's a matchup. A player that I feel really good about, and we'll get more into this tomorrow. We're going to talk about primetime chips and perhaps guys in CJ Stroud's supporting cast, perhaps being able to step up. I'm a little bit excited about Christian Harris. And I know that Christian Harris hasn't been consistent, but the Tennessee game, not only just the overall performance, it just kind of seemed like he wanted all the smoke a little bit. It kind of felt like Christian Harris would just had a certain level of nasty and a good feel of what was going to be needed to win that game. And I think I could see Christian Harris having a really, really good game against the Indianapolis Colts. I really, really could see Christian Harris being one of those guys. Derek Stingley, I don't know how much he's going to be on Pittman. I think we've almost come to expect Derek Stingley balling out. But as far as guys that could just kind of surprise you and elevate their play to a certain level, and just increase the way in which the fan base feels about him, I think Christian Harris is a guy to look out for. I could see this being kind of a Christian Harris type of game. I would say Blake Cashman, but I don't know how many people would be surprised about that. I also don't know how healthy Blake Cashman is. If you look at how he was moving around the last game, I don't know how good Blake, or how healthy, I should say, Blake Cashman is. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans, head coach of the Houston Texans. What the hell does he have to say? This is a big game for him. This is a big opportunity for him. We've heard from CJ Stroud. Let's hear what DeMeco Ryans has to say. Someone's bringing up Will Anderson. I mean, we already know Will Anderson's capable of shining on the big stage. That's just kind of the talent that he has. But let's hear from DeMeco Ryans here in the locker room.
Relationship between CJ and Slowick, how much is that pairing help put you guys in the position where you're one game away from
Yeah, offense has done a really nice job all throughout the year. Starting with Bobby, just as he's led the offense, right, through many different guys being in. I think first it starts there, just being able to manage, the roster and being able to work with whoever is available, right, and still finding a way to get it done. Right? It's not always the way you would like to have it, but he's found a way, right, to put our playmakers in position to make plays. And CJ, right, and what Bobby has done, and the offensive staff, Gerard, Coach Laser, all the guys just working well together. And that's what we're about, just being collaborative in everything we do, and that's paid off for us.
How much do you feel like your team has grown since that first meeting with the Colts?
Yeah, we're a completely different team now from our first meeting. You put the tape on, and it's like, wow. I'm encouraged by how much better we've gotten. You kind of know like who we are now. I think early in the year, every team in the league, you're trying to figure out who you are, figure out your identity, right? How are you going to play? So I think now, we know who we are. We know our brand of football, how we have to play, how we have to win games. And, that you figured it out throughout the year. You figured it out through a lot of growing pains, a lot of tough moments, but you figure it out, and we're in a good spot now.
What's your approach with the messaging going into a game like this? Do you say it's business as usual, same old game, or is it like, hey, we know what's on the line, and you show them and tell them what is on the line?
Yeah, at the end of the day with this game, we have to execute. And that's what it comes down to. Yeah, we know you have to win the game. To win a game, it's going to come down one snap at a time, everybody executing, everybody winning one down at a time, right? And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. You can get caught up in the hype of how big it is. And, yeah, everyone understands that, but what does it matter when the ball is snapped? It doesn't. It matters about you executing, being where you're supposed to be, and winning that snap.
What did you see from Jalen Patriot last week? Just bouncing back from the Cleveland game, and what did you saw from him against Tennessee?
Yeah, Jalen's done a good job for us. All throughout the year, Jalen's done a good job. Instinctive player, finds a way to make plays, be around the football a lot, provides energy to our entire team. Jalen's done a really good job for us.
When you look back on this season, are there any particular moments or games that you feel like really where y'all took that next level and it kind of got you on the path to where y'all at?
For our season, it's been a growth process throughout the entire season. Our team has continued to grow each and every game, each and every week. We've grown as a team, and that was, that's been a goal each and every. When I first started, that's the goal for me is, man, can we just improve one day at a time, 1 week at a time, one game at a time? Can we continue to improve? And if we continue to improve, we'll be in a good spot. And that's where we are now. Our team has improved, and they've earned the right to be in this position. Say that again.
What is it about the Colts' entire defense that stands out to you, not just the defensive line?
Yeah, the thing that stands out about the Colts defense is that they're well coached. Coach Bradley has done a great job with that defense. They're well coached, great scheme, and it starts with their defensive line, right? They're two interior defensive linemen, right? They're the ones who make everything run, right? And they're two really great players on the inside, and we have our hands full with them. Right, but that's how and they have a lot of young players, talented players in the back end. Those guys play fast, they fly around, right? They play together, they know exactly where they're supposed to be. So they do a really good job with their scheme and just being very sound in their scheme. So it's not a lot of plays that are going to be, missed or wide open things for these guys because they're going to be on the details of their job.
Today's head coach of the Texans, we had a bunch Bobby? What made you go that route, and how grateful are you that he's had the success that he's had?
With me, selecting Bobby as offensive coordinator, Bobby is a guy I've known since I've been in coaching. I've known him. I've worked with him for 6 years. We've worked together. We're both QCs together, so we both were ground level guys, just grinding. And Bobby is just a guy who's very detail oriented in everything that he does. He's a very smart guy. Off the field, just family man, right? Really great father, great husband, just trustworthy guy. And Bobby has done a tremendous job with everything that's been asked of him. He's done a great job with it, and I'm happy to have Bobby on board. He's done a great job all year. We wouldn't be here where we are standing today without Bobby and his entire staff and what they've done.
Today's been
Couple more, guys.
Because when you look at the film, what are some of the things that you see that Gardner Mitchell can cause some kind of challenge to the opposing team, especially considering that he was the quote-unquote backup, and yet they still haven't had a lot of success this year?
Right, you see Gardner playing much more comfortable. Right, he's had a ton of reps, so with those reps has come experience, and he's more comfortable. All right, operating the offense. You can tell the offense, Shane, they trust him with the football. He does a good job of getting rid of the ball fairly quickly, right? And he knows exactly where he's going with the football. When he hits his back foot, he knows exactly where he's going with the football. He doesn't make many bad decisions with the football. He protects the ball well. So it's going to be a challenge. You have to be disciplined. For us defensively, right, you have to be disciplined. We have to tackle well in space because the ball is out so quick. Guys have to swarm. We have to tackle well in space because of all of the quick passing game.
Jonathan Taylor didn't play the first time you guys squared off against them. What have you seen from him in the games that he has been able to play in the past couple of weeks when he's been able to put together?
Jonathan, a really dynamic player. And you talk about a guy who, the way he runs the ball, he just continues to stay after it. You can't think that one guy is going to get him down, right? He's going to continue to move forward, continue to run his feet. He's a very tough runner, physical runner, also has the speed, just dynamic player in all phases. In the passing game, when they're getting the ball out to him on checkdowns, he's able to turn those checkdowns into explosive pass plays for them. And so when it comes to that, like as a defense, guys have to be in position. You have to be ready to tackle him because he is a physical player, and it's knowing it's not going to take just one guy to get Jonathan down because he's such a strong runner, right? It's going to take everybody.
Today's kind of light workout, when you look at, was it encouraging just to even have Jonathan be able to watch practice Jonathan Bernard?
Say that again.
They sort of look like sort of a light workout, but was it encouraging just that Jonathan was even able to be out there and watch you guys?
Yeah, we'll see how Jonathan goes throughout the week. Yeah.
DeMeco was like catching him into the defense and getting him back and how he's kind of progressed throughout the season.
Yeah, Blake has done a great job with all the things we've asked him to do. He's done a good job of communicating, done a good job of being able to play multiple spots, right? Just create value for himself, like being versatile, right? It helps a lot. He's done a great job for us on special teams, being one of our leaders, right, in that regard, but also just being able, when you're able to move a guy around, he's able to handle a lot of different things, right? He starts to get more because he's earned that. So he's done a good job all year.
Last one, sorry. Coach, this is going to be the last time we get a chance to talk to you on record before the game. This will be the last time that the fans will be able to see you. Any message that you want to tell them?
I don't know about last time. We're still working. We'll see where we go. Oh, this week? Yeah. No, I mean, we appreciate the support from our fans, and they've showed up every game, even when we've been on the road. It's been encouraging when we show up on the road and to see all the Texans fans that show up to the games and support us. Right, that's what you want from our fans. For us, we want to go out and play great football, play a style and a brand of football that our fans will be proud of. And I think we've shown them that this year. They've shown up. They've supported us. They've been loud for us here in our home stadium, right? They've created an advantage for us here in our home stadium. So we're very thankful, appreciative for our fans because we know we wanted to provide our fans with some bragging rights. As Texans fans, it's been a long time coming. So we're happy to provide that for them. We're happy to see the energy, see the excitement from our fans because as a team, we feed off of the energy from our fans, and we felt that the entire year from training camp all the way through our season, and we're looking forward to continue to see that support. for us as they show up on the road again. All right. Thank you.
All right, there you go. It's going to be interesting to see how DeMeco handles this big game situation. I'm gonna re-ask the question: why is everyone picking the Texans? We know why everyone in here might be picking the Texans, but why are all the national folks? Is it a lack of understanding? Is it about the quarterback? Is it maybe we're too close and there's just there's PTSD when it comes to the Texans? Why is everyone picking the Texans? The big injury, obviously, Jonathan Grenard not going to play. Noah Brown not going to play either. I asked the question the other day, how big of a deal is Noah Brown being out? We've seen him huge in 3 games, the Tampa Bay game, the Cincinnati game, and the Tennessee game. That's every touchdown he scored. That's 66% of his receptions in 10 games in these 3 games. And it's nearly 80% of his receiving yards. The other 7 didn't do much. Will have missed 7, didn't do much. Now, Tank Dell in some of those games, Tank Dell not. You'd rather have Noah Brown than not. But how big of a deal is Noah Brown being out? When you look at it that way, those were some big games that he was able to step in. How big of a problem will that be? That should be interesting. There's two big differences this time around that I think work in each team's favor for the Texans and the Colts. The difference that is in the Colts' favor is obviously Jonathan Taylor. I know a lot of people get in their feelings about Jonathan Taylor because maybe you drafted him on your fantasy team and he's kind of disappointed you, maybe multiple times. But Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in the league. When he gets going, he's hard to stop. He's probably, I don't think Derrick Henry is, and Tennessee can't really block as well as Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor, was he the best back that they faced this year? He's definitely one of the 3 best. You can go through the list of guys, but Jonathan Taylor's up there, and when he's at his best, he's a Pro Bowl, even All Pro caliber back. Whether the Colts offensive line is what it once was or not, they block well enough for him to get going. He's kind of got heated up a little bit the last couple of weeks. So Jonathan Taylor is a big difference. The big difference in the Colts' favor. Big difference in the Texans' favor is preparing for Gardner Minshew. It seems like Gardner Minshew is one of those guys that when you don't expect him to do anything, when he comes out of nowhere, he'll surprise you and he'll play his best. Whether it's a relief start for the Eagles last year, the Minshew mania emergence, but once you start expecting things and once you start getting tape on Gardner Minshew, it seems like it's a better opportunity. Last time the Texans faced the Colts, and Shane Steichen deserves credit for this, it was a week of preparation for Anthony Richardson, for better or worse. There's a lot. It's not like these guys are at all alike, but they were preparing for Anthony Richardson. Minshew came in. I actually think that they may have figured out the Anthony Richardson situation. So I think Minshew came in and did his thing. He might actually be the better quarterback for this team at this point because the growing pains aren't as high. But Gardner Minshew, he's not hard to prepare for. And I got to think that DeMeco Ryans, with all of his experience, knowing that he's preparing for Gardner Minshew, that's going to be a little bit different. What does it look like? Who knows? But I do think that is an advantage that the Texans possess on top of the Minshew thing. Young Costa says the fantasy team comment on Jonathan Taylor sound like it hit a little too close to home for you, Landry. Now, I never had Taylor on my squad. I just know that and I used the example when the Texans had David Johnson. He sucked. Obviously, he sucked, but people had like extremely strong opinions about David Johnson, and I think it had to do with fantasy because if you remember the David Johnson, there's some guys who just they boom or bust high in the draft, but David Johnson, like when he first burst on the scene, I'm sure most of y'all play fantasy football, so I don't think I'm going too deep in the sticks here. But pause. But when David Johnson first came on the scene, he was like a waiver wire pickup that perhaps won you your league. Then he was a late first rounder who maybe won you your league. And then you probably tried to draft in the next 3 years and he probably screwed you over. So there was just a lot of polarizing stuff. And I know Jonathan Taylor's been a high pick. He was the number 1 guy last year and kind of flopped. So people have strong opinions about him. He will be a mofo for the Houston Texans. It's going to be a hell of a game. Actually going to do a stream tomorrow. We're going to go through the exclusive Laramie Tunsil interview. We're also going to talk about guys who could perhaps step up, get ready for the game. I'm not big on pregame shows, but when a game's at 7:15 and it's on a Saturday, we'll get something going. We'll get a live stream going, and we'll figure that out. And no matter what happens when it comes to this Texans stuff, we're all in this together. Someone, please tell me, why is everyone picking the Texans? Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along, listen to In the Loop. Check out that Laramie Tunsil interview on the Odyssey app, and be in the building for the pregame show tomorrow. We usually roll pretty deep there. For better or worse, it's going to be crazy. Appreciate you for coming through. Happy Pigskin weekend. Happy Saturday night. Win or go home football.
Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do.